Hello, welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network. I'm Rick Anthony. Today we're going to talk about matchmaking, dating sites, the things you see on television that are so prolific these days. It may surprise you to learn, I was certainly surprised to learn, that 40% of the people who post on dating sites are frauds. They post erroneous information, sometimes mostly deliberately. The photos, the background information, and so on is bogus. We see the results of that all too often in headlines about mismatches, about relationships that go wrong that were formed online but fell apart because they were not solid, they were not authentic to begin with. My guest today is an expert in authenticating information that is posted on dating sites. His name is Steve Ward. He comes to us from the West Coast, although he is originally from Philadelphia and a graduate of Drexel University. 16 years ago, he and his mother created a company called Master Matchmakers here in Philadelphia, which is still going strong. It's a high-end concierge service, I guess I would call it, for people who are interested in finding the perfect match. And they provide some ancillary services. Steve, welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network.
Thank you for having me, Rick.
It's a fascinating story. Your company is called, well, the product is called LoveLab.
Yes.
LoveLab.com. We're going to learn about that in the time we're together. But first, tell me about who you are. That is, you are from this area originally, sure. Drexel grad.
Yep. And
then for reasons that I found fascinating, you decided to go west.
Yes.
But tell us about what you were doing when you were here.
Well, coming right out of college, I knew how important it was to use information technology to run a business. My mom, who had been a professional matchmaker by that point for almost 15 years, was still doing everything the old-fashioned way, out of filing cabinets and folders. So I saw an opportunity to help bring her into the 21st century by creating a website and a database and some simple tools that anybody in college at the time would have learned how to use, just to help her be more efficient and effective than your neighborhood matchmaker.
And that was the beginning of Master Matchmakers?
Yeah, at the time it was called It's About Time Master Matchmaker, Inc. Right. I came in and purchased up the domain Master Matchmaker and Master Matchmakers and made us a .com and shortened it and trademarked it and did all the things they teach you in business school when you're starting a brand.
So in 25 words or less, describe to me the principal services that Master Matchmaker offers.
We are a high-end, high-touch personal coaching and professional matchmaking service that acts like relationship recruiters or headhunters for your love life.
And you have the experience to present yourself as a professional matchmaker and a coach for people who are looking for that special person.
That's right. Well, so years and years ago, my mom and I were just really focused on being matchmakers here in the Mid-Atlantic.
He's 34 years old and he says years and years ago.
Well, it feels like forever ago. I mean, I'm talking about 2002, 2003 here.
I know.
You know, my mom and I pretty much, we made our presence known in the Mid-Atlantic region. And we had local press here in the Philadelphia area and in DC and New York that we would memorialize on our website, and we would use these video clips to substantiate how long we've been in business. And that caught the attention of some producers out in Hollywood. One you may have heard of, a young woman by the name of Drew Barrymore.
Yes.
Her production company wanted to create a dating show from a male point of view. And so after seeing some of my material online, they thought to contact me and to see if I would be interested in hosting this show that would basically help people find, form, and maintain healthy relationships. Being from Philadelphia, my mom and I had a reputation for being straight shooters and pulling no punches. And so we created a show called Tough Love. And it was meant to give people no-nonsense advice, you know, straightforward, and sometimes very cutting and critical, to help them get out of their own way and find love. So that show lasted 6 seasons. It's been distributed worldwide in more than 50 countries. Led to a book deal with Simon & Schuster and brand ambassadorships and all these other things. But the more popular we became, the more people that would reach out to us. And unfortunately, people in areas that were underserved, where we didn't have anyone to match them with, or they weren't necessarily ideal candidates for our high-end service. The book did really well, but it wasn't enough. And this is when I realized that if we wanted to really take our business to the next level, we needed to get mobile. And that's where LoveLab came from.
Well, that's where LoveLab, that's hard to say, LoveLab came from. But it was really your recognition of a serious problem that
Sure.
had to be solved.
Correct. Yeah. So what we were doing at the time, I mean, our bread and butter was just going out and meeting people in person,
Right.
making sure they look like their photos, asking them for photo ID so that we know they are who they say they are. We'd sign a contract, where they'd allow us to look into their background. We'd go home. We'd have a private investigator verify the information that we were given, make sure that there wasn't in their background anything that we would need to be concerned about, and then we would represent them in good faith to other people who were like-minded and well-intentioned, also looking for love. But over the years, as we've developed our technology more and more, I've created efficiencies in that process. And we've developed our own technology to be able to interact with companies that provide risk management solutions as their entire business. And by doing that, we've managed to commoditize the cost of these background checks. And we've gotten better and better at screening people. And now we don't even have to actually go out and meet someone in person or ask them for ID anymore. With just a few clicks of your mouse on our website or by tapping through our app, you can prove you are who you say you are, and we'd have nothing to be worried about.
But as I understand it anyway, your app can be used by any of the dating sites that now exist. And,
Sure.
and there are how many of them?
There's countless, but the ones that really matter are Match.com, eHarmony, Plenty of Fish, Tinder, and these companies realize that online dating deception and misrepresentation is a huge problem.
Yes.
But no one's holding them accountable for it. The federal government has not stepped in and mandated any sort of legislation or regulation of these sites. In fact, they're protected under certain laws from the content that third parties are posting on their site and service.
They have disclaimers?
Oh yeah, but there's been lawsuit after lawsuit. There was just one settled recently in New Jersey only a few months ago with a man who was actually convicted of sex with a minor because the minor represented themselves as of age on this app. And when he sued the app for negligence and misrepresentation, the case was thrown out of court because of this federal law that protects these service providers from the information that people post there.
I didn't know that.
But that's why you never hear about Craigslist getting in trouble when someone killed somebody off of Craigslist or all these horrible things that happen online, because these companies are protected under the law from having to vet these individuals. So what we've decided to do was go out and be the first ones to provide trust as a service in dating. And now anybody can come to LoveLab, prove they are who they say they are, have a special code that they can take with them on any site or service, and share that code to show to somebody else, you can see I'm verified, meet me there.
Oh, that's how it works.
That's how it works.
So a dating site does not have to subscribe to your service.
No, this
does
is
not have to embed it in their site.
No, I mean, I wish there was a better term for this, but as far as the business model is concerned, it's somewhat of a Trojan horse. We're going into these sites and services with the use of what I'd consider to be benevolent marketing. You want to meet someone on farmersonly.com, you go right ahead. But don't you want to make sure that they are who they say they are?
Yes.
And there's nothing in their background before you
Yes.
give out your phone number or you go on a date?
Okay, so I as an individual would subscribe to your service, would use your service.
Yeah, so you go on the platform.
Yes.
And you can verify yourself through these various levels of trust.
Got it.
And you can invite someone to meet you there, to communicate with you securely on this app. Now, not only can they send you text messages back and forth, but you can take a photo and take a video that after it's transmitted and viewed one time will instantly disappear. And we don't save it, and you can't save it. So now you can be ultimately sure that you're getting the real McCoy when you show up for a date. You'll never be surprised. They can level up themselves, they can pass a criminal background check, and then you have nothing to be concerned about.
The site has 5 levels of trust.
That's right.
How does that work?
So par for the course these days is social authentication. So Hinge, Tinder, many other apps are powered purely by Facebook. But anybody who's ever used Facebook knows you can lie about your age, you can use a false name. So we consider that to be level 1. Connect some form of social media so that we know you have an online footprint. Now, none of that's displayed to other people. So people don't know what form of social media you use to connect, only that we as the company now have a footprint that we're looking at. The second level of trust uses facial detection and recognition software. And using the native facial recognition software within the iPhone and Android, a user can turn the self-facing camera on themselves. It captures your face. it measures it instantly, and then will compare it to the profile photo of your choosing for likeness. So if maybe you put on 10 or 15 pounds since that photo you used up on your profile, your face may not measure exactly the same. I know mine doesn't. So, but once you use a recent photo that you can verify with your facial measurements, you will have unlocked the second level of trust.
Okay.
The third level of trust we call contact proof. It's a way for us to prove you're not a bot. Once you share your code with somebody anywhere, and they go on the app and they enter your code, you've unlocked contact proof. Okay? So the fourth level of trust is really sophisticated. With just your address, we don't need your driver's license, we don't need your social, we don't need your phone number. With just your address, we can instantly verify through public records that the name you gave us and the birthday you gave us is accurate. Then to prove you are who you say you are, it'll instantly render a 4-question multiple choice quiz. Like, which one of these cars have ever been registered in your name? Or which one of these streets have you ever lived on? And when you answer that quiz correctly, you will have sufficiently proved you are who you say you are. And then the highest level of trust is a national criminal background check. And it's pretty thorough. So I'm the CEO of the company, I'm stuck at level 4. So if I were to tell you on a dating app, hey, you could see I'm verified, you can look me up on LoveLab,
Yes.
go to lovelab.com/LoveLab, because that's my code. And if you found me there, you'll see I'm a level 4. So if I were to show you why I didn't reach the highest level of trust on my device, I can tap on that background proof, and it will show you that I had a careless driving ticket in 2003. So it's rigorous, all right? And, you know, we're not going to be the judge and jury here to determine what is or is not a meaningful offense. But we see an opportunity to allow you to override a failure for a false positive.
So level 5 is a background check, including criminal background check, all based on publicly available records,
Information, correct.
Right? So that nobody's privacy is being breached. It's all publicly available information.
That's correct.
That you, with your technology, you're able to do a sweep.
Yep, of the whole
all of
country.
it.
Yep.
Anywhere in the world or just the country?
In the United States.
In the U.S.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's some limitations based on the state or county that you're in, because you know, that's the tricky part about background checks, is that all these different municipalities will adjudicate matters in their own way. So Pennsylvania, for example, you know, there isn't a traffic court per se, so any traffic violations will be adjudicated in criminal court. So it'll show up as a criminal offense, even though it's merely traffic related.
Could your 5 levels of trust, is there another application as well for people, companies who are hiring people and want to do a background check and use your 5 levels?
Well, we want to extend this platform into other verticals outside of dating once we've really proven the concept and have scaled. Yeah, because you know, last year the FBI has reported that there was over $800 million swindled out of businesses and consumers online in the U.S. And that's just reported. They estimate that that's actually as much as $3.5 billion. And it's so grossly underestimated because, or underreported because people are embarrassed to report that they've been scammed.
Sure.
They say that the #1 source of that fraud is romance scams through social media and dating sites.
So in a way, you're going to become the Better Business Bureau for romance?
Like VeriSign for dating.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. If we could solve this problem in dating first, then we can solve this problem in short-term hiring, apartment locating, any type of peer-to-peer exchange.
I mean, we're already living in an Orwellian world, but that really is Orwellian. Talk about surveillance and Big Brother, and again, I know there's nothing we can do about it. It's happening. It's here.
Well, we want to be the independent verification service that kind of democratizes this little check mark you see on social media for celebrities and other notable figures. Why can't the everyman get verified?
But as of now, I have to, as an individual, I have to initiate. I have to make the requests.
Correct. And that's the thing. So in a lot of these other companies out there that do similar things that we do, it's more or less you conducting a check on someone else based on the information they gave you.
Yes.
Whether it's a phone number or a name or any of these, and it can be very expensive. So what we say is, why don't you just verify yourself and ask others to verify themselves to you? Only those of interest, because if you're not interested in them, what do you care if they're verified or not?
You say the alternatives, the services already exist, they're pretty expensive. How expensive is your service?
LoveLab is 100% free.
Free.
100% free.
For all 5 levels?
All 5 levels of trust.
So how do you make money?
That's a good question. So, believe it or not, all of the largest tech companies in the world are predominantly free. You know, Facebook is free. Google is free.
Yes.
But Plenty of Fish is predominantly free. OkCupid is predominantly free. Tinder is predominantly free. They use what's known as a freemium model, where they give you a great, rich, free experience, and if you want to enhance that experience, you can pay for more features. If you are willing to digest ads, you can become a revenue center for that business. Fortunately, LoveLab was born out of this high-touch personal service that we created. So for the top 1% of LoveLab users out there who might like a hand in their life and want some professional guidance or support, we're going to make it really easy for them to go right into that program through Master Matchmakers if they like. But then we also see LoveLab as a platform for other dating sites, services, and singles event providers to use, because I want it to be free. I want to create this exchange of free, trusted people that anybody can tap into for commercial interest or personal interest. So if you're a matchmaker in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and you know 25 or 30 people that are great singles, and you convince them to verify themselves on LoveLab, and you create a profile on LoveLab as well, you can go out there and you can find people yourself and swipe through profiles of people on LoveLab who have already verified themselves, because we rank all of our users from highest to lowest trust level. So although it's designed to complement all of these other sites and services, it could also substitute them by you just using the application to meet people already there.
Yes. If I wanted to check on somebody to get your good housekeeping seal of approval, I would go on LoveLab and punch in their name to see whether or not they have used the service, whether or not there is a file on them?
No, if they have used LoveLab, they should give you a code.
Okay.
They should know their own code.
So I have to go to them and say, give me your code so I can check you out.
Or you can just give them your code and ask you to meet you on the app.
Okay. All right.
So the app in itself is just this safe meeting place, right? So for you to know, okay, now I know you are who you say you are. Now I know you look like your photo. Why don't you send me a 5-second video about what you'd like to do on a first date? And so to ask that person to send you that video, you make a video yourself. Hey, you know what? I really appreciate you meeting here. Sorry it was such a pain in the rear end. What would be your idea of a good first date? And you can play it back. You can make sure you look good. You know, this is the thing. When we first rolled out LoveLab, I mean, it's been quite a journey to get to where we are today.
When did you roll it out?
LoveLab 1.0 in September of 2013. And then once I put it out to market, and it was configured in such a way that some people weren't comfortable using it, and it didn't really have a viral mechanic built into it, I realized I needed to go back to the drawing board and re-engineer the whole thing, because people love the concept of this, you know, free exchange of verified users, but some people didn't like the idea that, well, I couldn't go in unless I passed a background check first, or I can message anybody that I'm interested in. Some women don't want to receive messages from people they're not interested in. Or, you know, if you want to make sure they look like their photo, we had video chat available. But a lot of guys would be uncomfortable in this video chat. They don't know how they look. They don't know what to say. You know, so thanks to Instagram, Vine, and Snapchat, they showed that millennials, who are the most coveted users, are very comfortable with short form video.
Yes.
They don't mind recording a little video and sending it to you. And it makes them feel even better knowing you're not going to be able to share that with other people. You know, so ephemeral messaging is a real cornerstone of LoveLab. You know, the idea that you could take pictures, take a video, and then it just disappears for good, and you don't have to worry about someone keeping that.
And it does disappear for good.
Yeah, we don't store it.
Okay. But I thought once it's out there, it's out there.
Not through these platforms that exist today. I mean, that was one of the things that I realized was possible at the end of 2013. I went up to a pitch competition in San Francisco called Node Jam, and I actually won the Crowd Choice Award out of 25 companies just based on the premise of this application. I didn't even have any of their code that enables this type of experience. I just said, this is what I want to do with your code. And everyone's like, yeah. So I'm the first one to do it.
Where did the name come from, LoveLab?
You know, funny. 2007, my mom and I were taking on many clients. We were building our business very, very fast.
She's still here in the East, right?
My mom's now in Palm Beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the East.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she said, you know, we're doing all this work of going out and vetting all these people, but we're spending so much of our time introducing them to one another when we really should be spending our time prospecting. Mm-hmm. Why don't we just let them meet each other? You know, we did all the work for them.
Yeah.
So we decided to create a private exchange on mastermatchmakers.com. And at the time, the clients were able to log into this private client area that we called our members lounge. So we needed to think of a name for the members to meet one another within the members lounge as this option. Well, if you're in the members lounge and you want to see other people who are open to being found, go into the LoveLab. I really don't know where the name actually came from, but that's how we told them to meet in the LoveLab.
You've got some distinguished backers.
Yeah.
Right?
Fortunately, yeah.
Can you mention who they are?
Oh, sure, yeah. After I won that pitch competition in San Francisco, I went back to Hollywood, and through inroads that I made with my agency at the time, CAA, I was introduced to very influential technology players in the Southern California area because, you know, I was just an entrepreneur with a big idea. You know, I didn't have any of the other traditional inputs, if you will, for a startup. I didn't have this brilliant technological co-founder. I didn't have, you know, wealthy parents that I could just ask for money. You know, I had to, you know, basically incubate this idea. So I was looking at various accelerators, and I happened to meet a guy by the name of John Kraft, who was one of the 3 founders of Pandora. And he started his own accelerator with the original architect of Stamps.com. It's called Liftoff, and it's based out of Glendale, California. And so they became my sweat equity development partner. And although, you know, all of the IP and everything is owned by LoveLab, they earn a share in the company for doing all the heavy lifting and helping me rebuild this product.
So they incubated you?
They incubated me, and then from meeting with them, I also had another introduction made through CAA with a man who was at one point the chief marketing officer of eHarmony, who was with them at the point of inception and was at one point overseeing an $85 million consumer marketing budget when they were bringing in $220 million a year in revenue. And so he saw what it took to grow that business and what the customer acquisition costs are and what the churn is like and what the, you know, lifetime value of a customer is and their half-life. And all of that knowledge was invaluable to developing the business model for LoveLab, which was to be an accessory to all of these other sites and to enhance all of them rather than to go after and try to compete with them as just another app.
Compare your experience as a young entrepreneur with this market, the corridor, I guess, from New York down to Washington, and the West Coast.
Well, it's like night and day, I'll be perfectly honest. You know, here on the East Coast...
Which part is night and which part is day?
Well, out in California, they may not necessarily give you the tough love that you may need. You know, sometimes they may just placate you, or they'll tell you they'll think about it, or they'll just kind of ghost you. You know, they just stop returning your calls or your emails.
Yeah.
On the East Coast, they'll
I've
tell you.
I've had that experience.
Yeah, on the East Coast, they'll tell you. Not interested. Why not? Not my cup of tea. I don't know enough about it. Or I got other things I'm doing. Or I got a sick mother-in-law, or whatever. They'll tell you what it is. So I appreciate that. Very, very straightforward, you know, matter of fact here on the East Coast. West Coast, you walk away wondering what you could have done differently. You know, whether or not it was you or if it was them. It's a lot like dating, to be perfectly honest with you.
But my understanding is that they're more open to innovation, technology, early stage companies, and so on.
Well, you know, I think there's something to be said about having a pedigree.
Yes.
And coming from the right institutions and having the right families, and you know, it's no surprise that, Snapchat was started by a Stanford guy. Instagram was started by Stanford guys. Facebook was started by a Harvard guy. I mean, people that have that type of pedigree have a leg up on everybody else who doesn't come from the right background as far as the venture capital
You're
world.
talking the West Coast or the East Coast, or
Well,
both?
I think that's true of both, to be honest. I think that's just because of the startup world in the last 15, 20 years. And now that there's been all of these changes, thanks to the Jobs Act, and the fact that you don't even need to be an accredited investor to...
You're talking about crowdfunding.
Yeah,
Right.
It's now become like the wild, wild west. And there are, high net worth individuals who may not have ever really considered themselves to be angel investors, now coming to the table and, spreading a little money out on the roulette. And that's how they look at it. And some people don't really mind just betting on the entrepreneur, or betting on the idea or the vision. And I think in California, it's much more technical. So it's really about, who you know, where you come from, how much money you have, and what your analytics look like, what your traction is.
Angels tell me again and again, and I've been an angel investor myself, the idea is good, that's one thing, but more important to me is the management team. What have you done to create a really outstanding
I like
management team?
I like to, there's some expressions I've picked up on as I've been raising capital that have stuck with me, and one of them is smart money. And so all of my investors are very successful, intelligent, accomplished individuals. So, for example, one of my angels is the founder, CEO of AccuWeather. So the experiences that he's had growing that company into a worldwide organization with hundreds of millions of hits a day on their data has been incredible. And the insights that he's shared with me already have just been amazingly useful. So fortunately, I have great advisors and I have brilliant investors who are all ready, willing, and able to offer advice wherever they can. Fortunately, though, as a company, LoveLab is very lean. I don't have plush offices. I don't have an expensive staff.
And your platform is completely built out?
Yeah, it's all built out in the cloud. It's all built on commodity servers.
So whatever additional money comes in is not for development of the technology. It's for marketing?
No, the money that's going to come in is really just going to go to three areas. One, I need to feed myself, so I pay myself a small salary for rent and put clothes on my back. I do have a fiance. And overhead, it's minimal, $5,000 a month maybe. But then the rest of the money is going to go 50-50 into developing the monetization features within the app and to acquire more users. And fortunately, because of my Hollywood inroads and because of my, what they call your Q, or your recognizability factor, we've been able to run these highly targeted mobile app install ads through Facebook. And fortunately, we're getting new users, millennial users, which are the most valuable ones, for as little as $1.54 a user, when the national average for a Facebook mobile app install is $3.39. So at just a fraction of the cost of what other people would have to pay, we're getting people.
Well, it certainly sounds like it's disruptive.
Very.
Very disruptive. And it's just a matter of time before you get what you need to blow it out.
Yeah,
I hope that's the case.
You're out the God's ears, right?
Thank you so much for being here. Those of you who may be interested, it is www.lovelab.com. Again, Steve, thanks very much for stopping by. Until next time, this is the Entrepreneurs Network. I am Rick Anthony. Take very good care of yourselves and remember to be authentic.